All right, so today we're going to be talking about these, the iLoud Micro Monitor Pros, and I'm still trying to figure out, are these travel monitors or are these studio monitors? Let's talk about it. Bolo! All right, so yeah, these are some very interesting speakers, okay? One thing I am going to say this. They sound really, really, really good. Like, really good. The sound is one thing that you don't have to worry about these. However, I'm still trying to figure out, are these monitors something that you really can travel with like that? Or are these speakers really to just be used in the studio? Now, I'm gonna keep it as real as possible when it comes to these speakers because I'm really trying to figure out what the true intentions of these speakers are. Now, IK Multimedia did send these speakers over to me for me to test them out and to see how I like them. They didn't tell me what to say, so I'm gonna keep it 1000 with y'all. Like I said before, the sound of these speakers are amazing. For these monitors to have a 3-inch woofer and a 1-inch tweeter, these things sound amazing. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, these things are loud as f. So that's the good thing about these speakers. They definitely deliver on sound quality. But I'm not too sure if these are like full traveling speakers. Now, why do you say that, Bolo? Because if you've been following my channel, I have done several other products similar to these monitors. And even though each of the products are a little bit different, however, the previous products I reviewed on here, they kind of were like, you know, a little bit more of traveling style speakers. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying don't check these speakers out because they are very good speakers. Just hang in there with me through the video and, you know, make a decision at the end. Now, let's talk about some specs. Both of the speakers come with 3-inch woofers and a 1-inch tweeter, and both of these speakers are front ported, so it really magnifies the bass. Now, the bass is not too much. Now, don't think that it's just like, oh my God, it's just so much bass. No, the bass is not too much. They did a really good job on designing this speaker for the sound, because that's the most important thing. It's the sound of these speakers, right? That has to be important, right? Now, the actual feel of these speakers are actually pretty cool. Has a nice shell on here, and it feels very durable. So if you did want to travel with these, I wouldn't be concerned about tearing these up or anything. And then plus, you know, it comes with a carrying case as well. So, you know, they're telling you that you can travel with these speakers. Comes with a case. Now, the cool thing about these speakers is they have their own little retractable stand so the speakers can sit up and face you. And they have screw openings on the bottom of the speakers to where you guys can screw these on some external stands if you want to, you know, maybe have these stands sit up higher or maybe like to the side of your desk or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Now let's check out a few things on the back of these speakers. Now, both of these speakers are independent. So it's not like one speaker controls both of the speakers. You're gonna have to control these independently. That's why I'm kind of thinking that these may be more kind of, you know, leaning towards the studio side. However, both of them have a volume control knob. They have a XLR and RCA input. However, no 1/4-inch input, just XLR and RCA input. Now, also they have a calibration mode on here that you can set, and they have a few EQ settings that you can set. They has a high frequency mode and they have a low frequency mode that you can set to your liking. So out the box, you can kind of get these speakers sounding the way you want to, you know, without having to even hook anything up. Now, they do have a USB-C input on here, but that's more for kind of calibrating the speakers, which is a bummer because I thought you can connect these via USB-C, but I couldn't do that. And also another thing that's kind of hinting me to that this may be more of a studio monitor is that both of the speakers are independently powered. It's not like some of my other smaller speakers like this, to where you can just basically use one plug and it controls everything. Both of these speakers are independent. So if you make any type of changes on any speaker, you're gonna have to make the same changes on the other speaker, which only takes like 5 seconds. 10 seconds. And yeah, so that's what got me really thinking, are these really like traveling monitors like that? You know, got me thinking because, you know, with some of my other products, they're more or less like traveling monitors. One plug, another cord goes to the other speaker. You can control everything on one speaker and pretty much it controls everything like that. And then even with some of the other speakers, I can use the USB functionality even with my iPad, because that's what I usually travel with. I usually just take my iPad, and if I do want to take some speakers, I can just plug it directly into my iPad, and I don't have to bring any extra cables and cords with it. I can just plug it all in, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Now, one thing that the other speakers don't have is this right here. So these actually come with a calibration microphone, okay? Now, there's already been videos on this where people show you how to calibrate these speakers. I'm not doing that because I actually did calibrate the speakers. It did a pretty good job. However, it did not change my mix like that. It didn't really just like blow me out the water on, oh my goodness, these speakers are calibrated, my mixes sound so much better. However, it did change how the speakers did sound, but personally, it did not affect how my mix came out on these speakers. And the mix that I did do with these speakers are the ones that I did using my main computer and all of my main components. Now, in most situations with speakers this size, I use these with my iPad or with like my MPC Live 2. So today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play you a beat off my iPad, since that's what I use these speakers mainly for. So I'm gonna be recording the sound from my iPhone 16, and I think you'll be kind of amazed how these speakers sound even through my iPhone microphone. Now, I know this is not a real test because you really can't like play like audio from speakers over the internet through the YouTube compression and all that stuff and get, you know, like a really good vibe for the speakers. But I think you might be a little impressed on how these things sound even coming through my iPhone microphone. So let's go ahead and check them out real quick. All right, so there it is, the iLoud Micro Monitor Pros. These things sound amazing, but for me, I think these are more studio speakers than travel speakers, okay? Now, am I saying that you cannot travel with these? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying just for me, I feel that these are more for smaller home studio setups, or to have a pair of smaller monitors so you can kind of A/B in between your smaller monitors and your bigger monitors to try to get your mix to translate on pretty much anything. Now, these are very good speakers. As you guys heard, they sound great. And if you guys want to go ahead and pick these up, go ahead and click the link in the description. So I hope this video helps you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I always say, peace out.